Where do we tell people to go watch?
It's on YouTube and both the Wire Facebook page and the H2G Facebook page. Let's let some people in. Give it one more minute. We'll do our typical kickoff. I wish we didn't have to look and see how many viewers there were. That's just terrible. All right, everybody. It is Wednesday. I don't even have to change the date. It's December the 14th in the Wire Sports Podcast. We're live, baby. We are live and in person. And
Right
we're
now.
starting right now.
I'm going in, it's first and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with I am Mike and the great Ali. I'm a run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy is so that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
All right. Yes, we are here. We're live. Shout out to anyone that is watching. We've got the comments up here so we can see you over there on YouTube. We can see you over there on the Wire Sports Podcast Facebook page, the H2G Radio Facebook page, and we're live with The Wire on Wednesday. We don't have to talk about behind the scenes. We're recording on Monday. We're doing this live. Fellas, how are you doing?
So he's muted, so I'll tell you, I'm doing good. He got a big gulp. We ready to go.
He's got a big gulp. I like it. I've got what is this? Firehouse lemonade.
What is this? Hold on. All right. Y'all start the show. I gotta get a drink. This isn't fair. One second.
Yeah, go get you something to sip on, man. Well, I was just saying I'm doing great.
Right.
I'm not in my usual settings, as everybody can see behind me. I'm not in my sports cave, but we're gonna make it work.
He's in our guest studio, of course.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So while Richie's coming back, for those of you tuning in, thank you for joining us. We're the Wire Sports Podcast from H2G Radio. Hey, our link's in the description. Go check out all of the shows here at H2G Radio. The Wire Sports Podcast every Wednesday at 8. So what we've been doing is College Hero of the Week. I'm not sure that we could really do that this week, but I do think that we can expand a little bit, do a short segment on prime time, and give. We really only had a chance to one-shot prime time at the end of the show last week. So I'd love to hear, Sahe's take, Richie, your expounded take on prime time, and then we can dive on into the NFL lineup. Whoever wants to get us started.
Well, it looks like he's drinking, so I'll start. I felt similarly to what I said last week. For those of you who weren't able to tune in, disappointed, but nonetheless, Prime. This is what Prime is. He's understands social media. He knows what he's doing, and this is an opportunity to raise a college and a university that just hasn't been anywhere in a long time. And I think this is an incredible hire because, the moral of the story in university is recruitment. 1,000%. You can have great coaching, and but if you don't have the players willing to come, it doesn't mean anything. This is a splash hire. Take a risk. Why not? If anybody's going to get you recruits, it's Prime. I thought it was a great move. Loved it. I loved him, as we talked about, I loved him doing that paradigm shift. Because quite frankly, he's being honest. Most of those kids aren't going to be there. So he doesn't have to worry about team morale and this, that, and the other. If you're not any good, you're not going to play. You're not going to be at that school. He'll find somebody better.
I couldn't agree more. Sahe, we've been waiting to hear your take on prime time, rolling into Colorado, saying, hey, guess what? I'm coming, and I'm bringing some guys with me. Everybody from around the country seems like is looking to get into the portal and go over and join the squad. What do you make of all this, man?
I think it's great. Dion getting over. It was a little unexpected for me hearing about it. I'm like, Colorado? Like, what? It's like kind of like an episode of South Park, maybe. Like Dion getting out there and then coaching Kyle. Coaching Kyle, Stan, and Cartman out there. That would be hilarious if they do an episode of Coach Prime coming down to South Park Elementary and doing a show. I think it's going to be great. Players are going to want to go to Colorado, and Colorado is going to end up being a playoff team, especially with the playoffs expanding. So we're going to see a lot of Coach Prime coming up in the future. Maybe one year, him and Coach Saden will get a match in the playoffs. So you never know. I think it's good though for athletes because they're going to want to come to his school, play for him. It's just great for college football, great for black coaches, and he did everything he said he was going to do at the HBCUs. He shined a light down there. Everybody's paying more attention to it. Good athletes. They're starting to up their facilities and everything. So Coach Prime is just great for the game of football. He was great as a player. He's great as a coach. He'd be great as an analyst. If he wanted to be a team owner, he'd probably be great at that. He just has that mystique. He's Prime. People don't call him Dion. He's Prime, So he's just an amazing figure in the world of football, and we're just happy. I'm just happy I get to see it and watch along.
Absolutely. Folks, as we're going along here today, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, either of our Facebook pages or YouTube, please drop any questions or comments you have in the comment section. We can address those this week live on the air. Guys, my last question about primetime, is this move to Colorado and, kind of shaking up the game a little bit, is this ushering in a new future for football? Do you think we expect to see some other, retired Hall of Fame athletes coming into college football and building a big draw? I mean, we have seen, in the past couple of years, some changes in division, trying to make some more divisions a little more competitive, some people leaving divisions that they've been in for a long time. Are we leading towards a more competitive, more compelling, maybe a little more Hollywood college football scene?
Yeah, I feel like if more former, like popular Formula players, right? Because we've always had former players come back and coach teams, but none really like of prime stature. Say Emmitt Smith coaches and starts coaching in the Big Ten. The team that Emmitt Smith goes to, he's going to get a lot of people to go there because he's an NFL legend. And kids, the ultimate goal of playing football is to go to the NFL and make big money. And if your coach was a guy in the NFL, he's got a lot of things to teach you. So a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a lot of athletes go to these schools and they're not worried about taking classes. Football is the class. So the more high level guys that are getting these jobs is going to be better for the players and better for college football. So it's going to be more. Right now, Dion has the edge on recruiting. But say another guy, like let's say Odell Beckham calls it quits and he's like, I want to go coach college football. which he's not going to get a big primetime job right now, but let's just say he did. So there's going to bring more competition. More schools are going to be getting more athletes. So it could do nothing but good. That's what we want to see more in the game. Guys that have played and that are guys in the game, go out and coach and show us what real football is. Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, what I was going to say is we had a comment I wanted to mention. Yeah, they're saying that he needs to poach a few players from other Pac-12 schools to make a splash. I'll tell you what, if anyone can do it, it's Prime. Having said that to what we're discussing right now, yeah, I agree with Sahe 1,000%. The reality is, again, this isn't necessarily a right or wrong or intellectual skill set, but the bottom line is if I'm a young man that's an athlete that's trying to go to school, I'm gonna be just the namesake alone is gonna give me value. Hearing that it's a former NFL player that's my coach, and in this case a Hall of Famer, and not just a Hall of Famer, the greatest at his position, for instance, for the sake of this argument. Now I will counter that it's not necessarily always great when a player becomes a coach and player coach, so to speak, because a lot of the times these guys have Justin is switching on and off, it's freaking me out. Okay, sorry. A lot of the times these athletes were the greatest in the pinnacle of their position, so sometimes they don't understand why don't you have the desire and the effort that I have. So that's why some people are meant to be coaches and some people are meant to be players, and some can do both. And I'm not saying Prime isn't one of those, but Prime happens to be somebody who's capable of being a leader amongst men, and in this case, boys essentially, and also able to coach. But for instance, if Odell Beckham Jr. did it, I don't know how much faith I would have in that, because you can't teach catching a ball with your index finger. You can't teach that to somebody. That's a skill that he just happened to have. So it's a little tricky, but in terms of early splashes, absolutely. If Odell Beckham Jr. became a college coach, he'd have at least 3 years where people are lining up at the door. And then if he failed, obviously that wouldn't work. But Prime clearly is successful, clearly is making an impact, and I think this is a great hire. We'll have to see if other people are able to replicate it and become athletes that become coaches. But we've seen that already in the NFL. I mean, we're probably going to talk about it at some point, but DeMeco Ryan is somebody, a defensive coordinator, who's probably going to be a head coach or have an opportunity soon. And we see some of these players that are former, NFL stars become coaches. But what we don't see is we don't usually see it go to the college level. They usually work their way up in the NFL tier system. So I really find it interesting that Prime chose to go that direction, and I really like it. I think, giving these guys, and when I say guys, I hate to say it this way, guys, but it's the truth. Giving black athletes the opportunity at these coaching positions earlier is better. And going to these universities will give them more exposure and opportunity that they don't get in the NFL, quite frankly. Because in the NFL, they got to work all the way up the position line before they ever have it. Look at Tony Dungy. Look how many years he had to do that. So I really do hope we'll see more of this in the future. Whether all be successful or not, who knows? But I love what I'm seeing with Prime, and I'm hoping more former NFL players, NBA players, etc., will transition towards that college university level. I think it would be great for the students. I think it would be great for opportunities for them to get positions that they historically haven't been able to get. Justo's mic is currently not working, but Brian just made another comment about he expects to see more DBs from Colorado get drafted now, as people think if Prime likes them, they'll have the same it factor he had. And that's a selling point. That's absolutely a selling point, Brian. And I agree with you. And I think that's exactly, you're going to get the cream of the crop in that secondary, for sure. So I definitely agree with you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. It's a little funky, but we can hear you.
It's funky. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you, Brian, for jumping in the comments there, and please, everyone, keep that up as I continue to try to get my situation.
Get it together, man. Get it together. We messing up. I just hit the backspace of my thing and completely went out of the stream. I'm like, damn. You still on?
Is this still funky?
It's cool. I hear you. We can keep talking about Coach Prime all night because I do like that point about more DBs getting drafted from Colorado. Just more players, period. Because you're going to get some of the best guys out of that school now. You know, at least for the first few years. He's bringing his luggage and his Louis. Man, y'all see that speech? That was wild.
Yeah.
Let's get into this week.
Yeah, let's just go with this one. I don't know. We'll get the microphone figured out next time. This work. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable.
All right. So yeah, let's dive into a week of the NFL. Thank you everybody for your comments on primetime. Let's keep things rolling. Okay, so we do a little thing here at the Wire Sports Podcast called Pass or Play. We go through the NFL games of the week, and the guys decide if they want to pass it, play it, and we've recently this season added in one shot, so they can just give their one shot. And since we're doing this live, if you've got a one shot or a play, drop it in the comments. We'll make sure that we get it out here on the stream. First up, guys, we had the LA Rams against the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Super Bowl hangover is over. I don't know, but do you guys want to pass it, play it, or one shot?
I'd play it, or one shot at least.
Let's play it.
We got to talk about it.
Let's play it.
Whoever wants to take it.
Because it's a lot going on. Who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll go. Shoot. Yeah, this.
I was waiting to see what you wanted to do.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield comes in the week of the game. Wasn't this a Thursday game? You said
2 days. He had 2 days.
Yeah, he had 2 days to figure it out, and they're losing the whole game. It was kind of like the Bucks and Saints game from the week prior, you know, where it's 16-3 in the fourth quarter, and it's looking bleak, and they're just all right. Baker Mayfield, he's still trying to figure it out, and then they catch fire, and Baker Mayfield leaves them on a drive at the end of the game to win it, and he kind of just shows kind of a flash of why he was the number one overall pick for the Cleveland Browns and why they drafted him. Is it something that's sustainable throughout a whole season? Who knows? I would hope so. I would love to see Baker Mayfield turn it up with the Los Angeles Rams and end the season on a high note. But it was just awesome to see, you know. Those are the kind of performances why you tune into the game. You know, who would have thought that Baker Mayfield started the year at Cleveland, went to Carolina. They didn't have a quarterback at all. They benched Baker Mayfield for P.J. Walker. Like, I think he was like the runner-up MVP in the AFL or something like that. A league that ended after like 6 weeks. He got benched for that guy. They're like, all right, we can't do nothing with you, Baker, so we're going to let you go. Couple teams come up like, oh, we'll claim him, see what we got. And the Rams desperately need him. Matt Stafford's injured. Who knows if he's going to come back. And Baker Mayfield steps in there, and he delivers a big-time win, a big-time jolt for that city, something that they desperately needed. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But it was just a good moment in sports to see a guy falling from grace and reclaim that sort of, you know, moment of glory that he had in draft night, or when he stabbed the O in the Ohio State Stadium after beating him when he was at Oklahoma. Baker has these moments, so that's what he's good for. And it was just great to see. What you think, Richie?
Yeah, I'm 1,000% with you. You know, one of the things that I found really interesting is just, you know, coaching. I'm not saying the Rams are the, you know, best coach. You know, we love Sean McVay. But what I will say is, you know, this kind of happened with Tua in Miami, where it's like when you have a guy who believes in you, you know, who knows? The world is your oyster. And I just want to go back to the beginning of the season, right before it, when we heard rumors of Baker Mayfield is not mature and et cetera, and that's why they're moving to Deshaun Watson, right? So
they wanted a grown-up at quarterback.
That's why, right? Thank you. That's what the quote actually is. They wanted a grown-up at quarterback. So, when you lose faith in the coaches and the coach, or and they lose faith in you, that's what kind of happens. And I'm not saying Baker is a world beater. I don't know if his number one pick status will ever recover, so to speak. But, you saw a guy finally get to just go out there and try the ball. I'm not even saying he did amazing. I feel like the narrative is why he got NFC Player of the Week. But, bottom line, Offensive Player of the Week. But bottom line was, this is a great story. And, I wish Trey were here. I'm not trying to dump on the Raiders, but clearly this is a Josh McDaniels moment where only Josh McDaniels could find a way to lose this game in that sense, right? Because he's found ways to lose a lot of games this season. And if you're a Raiders fan, you're just like, what's going on? But I'll give the Rams some due overall. Josh Jacobs is playing on fire, and they held him under 100 yards, and he almost had like 30 carries. So when that's about as good as you can expect. So bottom line, I'm happy for Baker Mayfield this week. This doesn't mean Baker is going to be a top 10 quarterback or anything like that, but it does mean we'll be seeing him on the Rams as the quarterback for the remainder of at least the season. And, props to him to get through that. That would be stressful, if I'm just being honest. If I only had 2 days to come in and do a job as complicated as the Rams offense is, wow. But kudos to him, man. It was cool to see. 2 minutes, 98 yards, no timeouts. Loved it. And you don't match Baker's energy, moxie, and love of football. I absolutely agree with the comment we just saw. Cleveland screwed themselves by letting him go. I'm with you, man. Just remember, this man brought that trash team to the playoffs and the promised land when they hadn't been since they've been an expansion team anyways. So, and you just do this man that dirty that he's not an adult, even though we don't need to get into Deshaun. But, he's not an adult and things of that nature. So congrats for Baker. I hope this will at least give him an opportunity to stay in the league, because it was starting to look like that wasn't even going to be the case, to be honest, after the Carolina experiment. So that's all I got to say. Yep. Well, we can't welcome back Justo. But he's got to get his mic in order. So in the meantime, I'm going to start the next one, Sahe. Do you want to pass or play? We got the Jets and the Bills.
Well, I mean, we can one-shot it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't even give you that option. Let's just one-shot it. Let's go real quick.
Yeah. I took that
real quick. Yeah. I'll take the Mike White thing here. I hope that dude's okay. I don't know if you saw there was a tackle where he got speared. Yeah. And that brother – that was one of the worst clean tackles I've ever seen in my life. Like, that dude looked like WCW. That looked like Bill Goldberg just ran into somebody. His ribs, like, I'm shocked that they're like, just so everyone knows that they just said Zach Wilson is the second quarterback. I anticipate Mike White getting like 3, maybe a drive or a couple snaps in, kind of like what they did with LA, and then put Wilson in. I mean, if Mike White tries to play, I can't even imagine what his ribs look like right now, to be honest. That was one of the nastiest hits I've ever seen in my life. Whew.
Yeah. I'll say this, just like we go from talking about Baker Mayfield and how he was an adult in Cleveland, and then you look at this Jets team, and they really need an adult at quarterback, because the guy that's supposed to be their starting guy is, for lack of a better term, a mother effer, like quite literally. And he just looks
quite
young.
Literally.
Yeah. And he looks young in the face, and like, I don't know what are they going to do with him. That's like, they've got a quarterback issue, but they've got a great team, a great defense. So, I mean, it's nothing really to bring up the Bills here. What can you say? 10-3, top of the AFC. They're right in it. But it's good to see that division is super competitive,
It's super competitive. And I'm just going down the order of ESPN. I'm not trying to be a homer. We have the Browns and the Bengals. Would you like to pass, play, or one-shot that game?
We can. I'll one shot it. Just I'll start off the one shot here just by saying
Okay.
this. This is why they paid Deshaun Watson $250 million guaranteed, $230 million guaranteed, $500 million guaranteed, whatever you want to call it. And to come up with just one touchdown, 26 of 42, team loses 10-23. That's just not getting it done. Granted, this is what his second game back against one of the
Yes.
hottest teams in the NFL.
Yes.
So we got to cut him some slack, but these are the games that Deshaun Watson was brought here for, and he's got to step up and show out these kind of moments.
Yeah. One shot real quick as well. I watch this game. Everyone knows I'm a Bengals fan. Trying to look at it objectively, Deshaun started off okay. Statistically, he looked good, but that's because they're having him dump 3 to 7 yard passes. It wasn't like he was lighting it up. And then when you look at the final stat line, it got even worse. This was a better performance than his first game. But to Sahe's point, you look at Joe Burrow, who was missing T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, only had Jamar Chase, who's being doubled and tripled most of the game. And Joe Burrow still made it happen. And this is what Deshaun Watson is of similar, if not better, skill than Joe Burrow. So regardless that he hasn't been playing, you got to step up, brother. And that was disappointing on that sense. From Cincinnati's perspective, their defense was fantastic, and they absolutely did what they never do against Cleveland, and they shut that run down. And that is, Nick Chubb is, I have mad respect for Nick Chubb. I'm not a hater. We all love the king, but I personally think Nick Chubb is, if I were to pick a running back, it'd be Nick Chubb. I just think he's just so consistent. And this was a game where he didn't come up big. So, good job by Cincinnati. For Cleveland, it was kind of expected. They're still in the playoff hunt. Hopefully, if you're a Cleveland fan, you get Deshaun to do something. And we have a comment about that they don't expect Deshaun to do well this year. Next year, they expect him to ball out. That's exactly what I said on the wire all season. I believe next year Cleveland could be a Super Bowl favorite, at least early on. Deshaun Watson with that team is very scary, or at least the Deshaun Watson we expect based on his talent anyways is scary. But yeah, I don't believe this will be the season either. But bottom line is, you got all that guaranteed money, brother. Make it happen. Do something if you're, for the Cleveland fans.
Gotta do something.
Justo, how we looking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Coming
It's
through.
a little low, but
you're
much
coming
better.
through.
You sound a lot better.
Okay. And you can hear, maybe I'll turn my gain up when I pass it back on. Oh my God. This stream has been a murder for me. Okay, so you guys did Jets Bills, is that right?
Yep.
Oh, right. Did everybody get their turn? Because I was under the desk.
Yep.
Not doing the typical under the desk things. Okay. we got the Vikings and we got the Lions. Lions came out on top 34-23. A lot of talk about the Lions right now. Do you guys want to talk about them? You want to pass, play, one shot?
It's up to you.
Let's at
Ricky.
least one shot it. I think we should at least
All
one
right.
shot it.
Go for it.
This is a surging Lions team. This Vikings team, every week, week in and week out, we had to talk about how they've beaten it. Then they're 10-3. They've beaten this, they've beaten that, etc. But we've always been saying, well, it's Kirk Cousins. This was a game where, again, I don't think the Vikings did that poorly. And if we look at it from a statistical standpoint, Kirk Cousins looked good, 400 yards, etc. But, the Lions won this game. They're 6-7. I believe just like the Bengals, they started off atrociously. They were 0-2. They were 2-0, and then they ended up being 2-5 after 7 games. And now here they are, I think 6-7 at this point. So you got to give them some respect. They have a crazy offense. I don't believe they're a Super Bowl contender. Their defense is garbage, but you got to give them some respect. When you start off 2-5 in a season, to bounce back, be in contention, be in the playoff hunt. It's good for them. It's good for the city of Detroit. And, Dan Campbell's really been trying to turn this program around, and you're starting to see some of that, and some of those dividends pay off, even when your quarterback is Jared Goff, right? You have one of the best offenses in football with Jared Goff, who Sean McVay said, I can't win with this dude. So good job on Detroit. Minnesota's still 10-3. They got the best wide receiver tandem in football, but they got Kirk Cousins. So,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would
I
say
just really wanted to test the mic. Go ahead, Sahe.
yeah. You're good. I'll let you do your thing. Do your thing, dog. Do your thing. I mean, I know it's been a rough one, but I would say for
Go
the
ahead.
Vikings, this is one of those trap games. You know, you're facing the Lions. The Lions have that stigma. We could just come in here and beat up on the Lions, and it'll be all right. But MCDC down there has got bigger plans. Motor City Dan Campbell has got those boys humming. And the crazy thing is, the Lions' offense is so good right now, and they don't even have their best weapon out there, Jamison Williams. Wait till he gets back next year. Then they are going to be flying. They're going to buff up that defense. And I feel like the Lions are going to be a team to watch out for next year. Side note, I play in a Madden league, and this dude plays with the Lions, and we're in year 3, and I just can't beat this dude when he has the Lions. I'm like,
He's the Lions.
yeah, they're so good in the game because they just got speed, you know, and they've got good guys. Like their skill positions are so well put together, and with a coach like MCDC, they're going to do great things. And last on this 1.5 shot, Justin Jefferson, man. Have we seen a guy like him in the recent years? He's just amazing.
We've
Just
never
amazing.
seen a guy like him. I don't like when people try to compare. He is unique.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I do have to say the MVP stuff needs to just stop. I'm not trying to hate. I think he's having the best performance any wide receiver's ever had. But to my point, Cooper Kupp had like 16 touchdowns last year, almost 2,000 yards, and he didn't get it. So Justin's not going to get it even if he gets to 2,000. This is a quarterback-driven league. But Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are both great. Justin is better than Jamar Chase. I'm saying it right now as a Bengals fan. Justin Jefferson is a real deal. I believe this year he has solidified his place as the best wide receiver in football. He's incredible.
Absolutely.
Trey,
And
what you got to say? We got the Lions.
We got the man, the myth, the
Vikings,
legend,
the man
Trey
in the building.
joining in. Yeah,
Hey,
what's
how
going
you guys
on,
doing?
Trey?
Sorry about that. I'm good. Blessed to be here. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Finally.
Good, man.
All right.
I can be heard for once.
See it, brother.
It's not,
Technical
it's not gonna-
difficulties already?
Oh, you know it. You know
Me
it.
too,
Well, hey,
man.
man, we're one-shotting the Vikings and the Lions. We're ready for you.
The Lions are coming along. I mean, the Lions are weird because they have such a bad defense, but their offense is so prolific. They can put points on the board, but they can't stop anybody. But I think the defense is starting to come around. They're starting to. I like Dan Campbell. He's fun to watch. And they're a tough out for anybody. They're gonna mess up some playoff. They're gonna mess up some playoff hopes.
All right, there you have it. Brian says the Lions have 4 top 100 picks this draft coming up. Hopefully, all defensive players.
Better.
Better
Or
be.
I hope
they're going to
so.
be trashed.
I
like
hope
they've
so.
always-
Next, we have a good old-fashioned rivalry. Probably closer. Well, I don't know. The Ravens and the Steelers. Ravens came out on top 16-14. You guys want to pass play or one shot the battle between the Ravens and Steelers?
Personally, I want to
one
pass
shot it.
this, you know. Okay, well,
I-
he wants the one shot. What you got, Sahe?
I think Trey called the one shot. You
Yeah,
want
Trey,
to
Yeah.
they called it. It's on you, Trey.
All right.
What happened to the Ravens? I know Lamar's hurt, but what happened to the Ravens? I feel like it's almost like that they don't have any life in them. I don't feel like they are trying at this point. The Steelers have our upcoming team. I like the Steelers as far as their young talent goes. I know they're trying to figure it out. They're going to mess up and have a decent draft pick, a horrible draft pick because they were going to go 500. But I just think that the Ravens are disappointing this year.
Yeah, okay. I'll echo your sentiment. You know, if I'm Lamar Jackson, though, after seeing what happened to Kyler Murray, I'm not stepping on any field anytime soon. I'm going to be like, you know what, my ankle killing me. I don't feel real good right now. But yeah, Baltimore, last year had a lot of injuries. So that's what we kind of gave them that like slack, so to speak. Like, oh, well, they had a lot of injuries, but they're the best team in the AFC North. And then this year, they're having some injuries, but like, I just feel like their offensive coordinator at this point has been a little too stale. I feel like, they're just so focused on optimizing the run game and working around Lamar, but not giving Lamar opportunities to go to that next level. And I think after this year, I think they should consider a new offensive coordinator. I think this Ravens team needs to shake it up. And I think that's the way to go. Lamar is your answer. You don't deviate from that. But I think you need a new offensive coordinator. You need a new game plan offensively. Because this year is inexplicable, to Trey's point. At the first 5 games, they looked unstoppable. Hell, I didn't think anyone was going to beat them. But now as a Bengals fan, I'm like, yeah, we play in week 17, we'll kick their ass. I'm not worried about it at all. If they play like this, are you kidding me? So yeah, it's that. I don't even want to talk about Pittsburgh. That's not what we're talking about. Like, I think they're going to finally mess around and have a losing season in spite of Mike Tomlin trying to prevent it. I think it's finally going to happen. I think after Pickett went down and I saw Mitch Trubisky come in, that was exactly. If Mitch Trubisky had played this whole season, these boys would be what they should have been, which is like 2-15, and then Pittsburgh having the number 1 pick, which would have been beneficial to the Steelers. But Mike Tomlin's like, bruh, I got a legacy to uphold. I got a thing to maintain status quo here. We don't lose with the Steelers. We're Mike Tomlin. And so he's been fighting and trying to make it happen. But, I hope Kenny Pickett's okay. Don't get me wrong, people. I'm not trying to say I want Kenny Pickett on the sidelines because I don't want Pittsburgh to be good. I hope Kenny Pickett bounces back and they go 8-9 or something. That would be wonderful. That'd be exactly what I want. I want them to be right in the middle of that draft where they can't really pick the picks they need. Because right now they need some picks.
All right. Sahe?
Yeah, I'm going to just go what Richie said earlier about Kyler Murray and seeing that injury. Lamar Jackson needs to shut it down. Just shut it all the way down and be like, I don't know, coach. Yeah, it's all just
my
sore.
Neck, my
right?
back, my neck and my back.
Yeah, he needs to sit it down for the rest of the year because he's either like my boy in the comments was saying, go to the Lions because they got the cash to get him, or there's another team down south. Yeah, there's another team down south that's gonna need a quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
One's gonna leave.
Yeah.
They red, I think, maybe.
Yeah, quarterback probably will retire or go to another team.
I think he's just talking south of Ohio. Just south of Ohio, black and gold.
No, Pittsburgh's too cheap. They too cheap to do it. I'm sorry, sure. They too cheap for that.
For sure. If he was a receiver, that'd be a different story. All right. A game that we've talked about ahead of time. Richie made kind of a prediction saying the Browns needed to get it in gear before they faced the Bengals. They did not. Bengals got this one 23-10 over the Browns. You want a pass, play, or one shot?
Well, we're gonna pass this because we already talked about it. Actually, my friend.
Oh, passing it on. Right.
I went by the ESPN schedule, so we already talked about it.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the next.
Finally, Joe Burrow got one. We're good.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Did we do Texans Cowboys?
We did not.
All right. So we got the Cowboys with their win over the Texans 27-23. You guys want a pass, play, or one shot?
It's up to
one
you
shot.
guys. I think we all feel the
I
same
can
way
almost
about
pass
the Cowboys. Yeah.
All right.
Want to pass it?
Cowboys were losing at halftime.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my quickest one shot of all time. That was way closer than it should have been. Jeez.
Here's what I'll say.
No,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the Texans probably were like, oh shit, like we gotta let them score here. We want the number 1 pick in the draft. Let them score. Let them score. Right. Let them score on 3.
They knew how to do it. See, if Mike Tomlin would get that philosophy, then the Pittsburgh Steelers would finally get some picks.
I'm with you. You know, it was like the Texans are about to win the damn game, and all of a sudden, you know, here come the Cowboys. Or was it here come the Cowboys? I think Sahe's on the.
Trey, did you have a micro shot on this one?
No, I'm good. The Cowboys are just as inconsistent as we thought they were. That's just what it is. They having to luck up and win this game because the Texans know how to lose because they're professionals.
They're professionals. The Eagles and the Giants. This one looks like a college score, guys. The Eagles got this one 48-22. You want a pass play or one shot? The Eagles and the Giants.
I mean, I'm down to one shot.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We could one shot. It was a divisional game with two good teams.
Okay. Yeah, here's what I'll say. You know, the Giants have still had a great season, although they're starting to slide. They're 7-5 now. Miles Sanders, like that dude, like really carried this game. What I'm most impressed about the Eagles is just their complete balance on offense, let alone, as we talked about, they're a top 3 defense right now. So the top 3 defense combined with incredible rushing attack, not just from the running back, but also the quarterback. And in addition to that, you have one of the most dominant wide receivers in football. You know, I'll just say top 5 because it's too hard to have this conversation, but that man can take over a game. And that was the spark plug they needed. You know, they have Devonta Smith. He's absolutely no scrub, former Heisman winner, and the smaller guy that, you know, wasn't supposed to be drafted in the first round. So you have absolutely killer weapons. You know, we talk about Joe Burrow's weapons. We don't talk enough about Philadelphia's extremely good offense. They're completely balanced. They can kill you from every direction. Tight end, running, well, although their tight end's injured right now, but tight end, running back, wide receiver, quarterback, they got it all. And this is easily, you know, the team that at least is the favorite. It's hard to argue it right now. They're just playing and firing on all cylinders.
All right.
Yeah.
I would just say, oh, go ahead, Sahi.
No, I'm just looking at the stats and I'm like, usually I can tell there's a glaring reason why a team would get blown out like that, 48-22. But it's like the only thing that you could say is the Philadelphia Eagles are really that good. The Giants only turned the ball over one time, and they beat them by what, four scores? That's wild.
And the time of possession was only like 3 minutes in their favor, in the Eagles' favor. It wasn't even
exactly
like the game.
So every time the Eagles got the ball, they were getting points. Like it's hard to defend that, you know. It's hard to stop that if a team could just. It's like Donovan McNabb with T.O. and Brian Westbrook back in.
Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, it's like these guys just look amazing.
Yeah, they are. I feel like they are in a league all to themselves right now. I mean, how you want it, really? They can go inside, they can go outside, they can run around you, they can run through you, they can go over the top, they can do the intermediate passes. He can throw for 300, or they can rush for 200. The defense is bend but don't break. But now all of a sudden it's starting to be a little bit less bendy as that defensive line comes together because they got some studs on that line. And they're the most consistency. They always talk about all your consistency. They do have their highs like this past weekend, but on their lows, they're still damn good. They're not really making mistakes on their lows. I mean, there was like a 2-3 game stretch where they were kind of fumbling it up a little bit, but they were still eking it out, and they didn't look that bad. So I mean, it's the Giants versus the field for me right now. I mean, excuse me, the Eagles versus the field for me.
Eagles. Just side note, Jalen Hurts, only player in history as a quarterback to have 2 consecutive 10 touchdowns rushing ever. Even when you had guys like Mike Vick and Cam Newton. So kudos to Jalen Hurts. It's a pretty cool stat.
He's a great fantasy pick. I'll tell you that much. Great fantasy.
Yes, he is.
All right, we got one more, then we'll take a quick break and come back and bust out the other 5. A bunch of people down there in Jacksonville, Florida saying, hey, Tennessee, what happened? Jacksonville got this one 36 22. Do you guys want to pass, play, or one shot?
At least one shot this thing. We got to. I know Trey's been pretty high on Jacksonville, so, I feel like we'll get the pro side on that. I'm just going to go with the negative side on Tennessee. Come on, guys. You're embarrassing me. My Bengals had to squeak that game out. Barely squeak that game out. We know the Bengals have been looking good. And Jacksonville clobbered them, to be honest. So it's just like, whoa, Jacksonville. Like, that was a game where Trevor Lawrence took, offense to somebody on that team because he was balling that game. To Trey's point, that's just – this wasn't something I expected. Don't get me wrong. We've talked about Jacksonville many times on the wire. They're a team that has, I think every game they've lost has been 7 points or less. So this is a team week in and week out that's right there, right there one way or the other. And, sometimes the pendulum swings one, and you win or you lose games. And that was something they talked about with Cincinnati last year where they won their combined points allowed and points for. They're only 6 points more on their own side versus the others. And that separated 8 games for Cincinnati last year. I feel like Jacksonville is just on the other side of that, unfortunately. But now what you're seeing is what they're capable of. That was a game where if they can play like that, you might have an 11-win season. Easy. Jacksonville played great. So kudos to them.
Sahe?
Yeah, I'll say this is just what a difference a year makes, right? Last year, Tennessee Titans, #1 seed in the AFC. Jacksonville has a coach shotgunning his fingers up a girl's, and now they're just, they're putting it together. Trevor Lawrence is throwing TDs, throwing for almost 400 yards. This is like his rookie season this year. So these guys they're putting it together, and Tennessee is falling apart. And it's funny, we got these games back to back, the Eagles and the Giants and the Titans and Jaguars. And the Eagles, the Titans, I somewhat blame for them empowering the Eagles so much by trading them A.J. Brown. And that's why the GM for the Titans got fired middle of the season after a win. They're like, man, this after A.J. Brown went off on him. He's out there cooking them. He's like, yeah, you guys traded me. You're some idiots. He probably said that to the president of the organization. The president was like, you know what? Who traded you? He found out who signed off on it and fired his ass. So it's just amazing what a year difference can do in the NFL. And it's just sad to see the Titans 7-6, just feeling bad about themselves losing to the Jaguars.
We've been saying it for the past few weeks. The Jaguars are for real. They're for real. Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence. I think I want to say that they were talking about him. They were talking about him coming into the league after his freshman year. They thought he was ready for the jump when he was his freshman season at Clemson. They said he was ready. So he's actually living up to the hype, throwing darts. And then next year he's gonna get who did they just get from Atlanta? That's on
Calvin Ridley
right now. They're getting Calvin Ridley next year. That's just another dangerous weapon for them. And their running game is gonna be better. Another year under this Peterson's offense. And the defense is going to start. So the defense is always, for Jacksonville, has always been borderline decent. They're going to do some damage. It's not a surprise. I mean, for us, because we've been talking about them low-key all year. No one wants to play Jacksonville Jaguars.
Especially the Colts and the Titans.
Especially the Colts and Titans. Hey, we're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna play this intro. We don't do this enough. We have some fantastic artists here at H2G Radio, and one of them is right here on this show, Sahe, with our brilliant theme song for the past couple of seasons. So check out this intro, but more importantly, drop down in that description and hit the link tree. We've got some fantastic shows here at H2G Radio. I've got all kinds of news coming up. We've got some new shows on the way, some new seasons of some new of old shows on the way. You know, you've got the Wire Sports Podcast, of course, every Wednesday at 8. We might move this around so that we can stream more often, and then you can check out the audio on Wednesdays at 8. We'll talk about that. Free Mess on Fridays. Man, get down there and check it out. Sahe, Trey, and the guys. I mean, just a fantastic show. True Crime for the Innocent Mind. The entire first season is out right now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find it. And then we've got the Actors Breakdown. If you've ever wanted to get into the film or theater world, great way to hear some guys talk about how to do that, what to do. And then we've got the Boss Dog Show. The entire first season is available. Just go to the link tree. You can find everything you need. We'll be right back. This is the Wire Sports Podcast on HTG Radio, and we're still live. I love it. I haven't said we're live in a very long time. It feels good. We'll be right back.
I'm going in, it's first and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with Iron Mike and the great Ali. I'ma run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
That's right, the Wire Sports Podcast here on H2G Radio. We got a couple more games, actually 5 more games to handle here, fellas. Let's dive on in. If you're in the comments section, thank you. Big shout out to Brian Lee, who's been giving us great comments all night. And please keep them coming. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Broncos have not been looking their finest, but the Chiefs got this one 34-28, maybe a little bit closer than people thought it would be. What are you guys' thoughts? Pass, play, one shot?
I'd like to at least one-shot it. I'll just start off. The Chiefs are lucky, and it's kind of sad. Russell Wilson has been struggling like all year. And this is the first time we were seeing Russell Wilson kind of play like Russell Wilson until he got hit right there by that end zone, you know. And I think, you know, a lot of people are giving him a lot of flack. But, you know, listen to his teammates' comments about, you know, how much you could see his effort, and he's week in and week out, you know. People make fun of him, but he's trying. It's not like he's not trying. So very unfortunate to see Russ get hit like that. And it was sad, but, you know, Kansas City pulled it out. But if you're a Denver fan, at least you got to like the effort your team finally gave. They're out of the playoffs, but we knew that was coming. That was not going to change. So, you know, Russell Wilson, hopefully, you know, can bring it back next year and actually play like what he used to play like. When I don't know, we'll see. But this was a much better game than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. Who wants it next?
Yeah, Russell Wilson had a. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I would say Russell Wilson is having a hard year, and it's making it hard for them to get tape on him to get off of him, and get Aaron Rodgers like they want to do. But I will say this is why I don't feel confident in the Chiefs, like in the coming out of the AFC. Because it's almost like they play with their food too much. And Patrick Mahomes plays around. I guess he's known for being a gunslinger, but he plays around too much and he does really dumb stuff. Like those passes, although they were touchdowns, why are you making that play? And he proves week in and week out that he still really doesn't know how to read defenses. There's a couple of plays where they did clear outs and the ball clearly should have went to Kelsey, but it didn't. He actually tried to make a play. Actually, one of the no-look pass plays, the ball is actually supposed to go to Kelsey. He looks Kelsey off, comes to the other side of the field when he's got trips to the right, and then creates something out of nothing. But he created the problem. Just follow the offense. He's not reading the defense at all. It's like eye-opening. He's a great quarterback. He's got so much talent that he can cover for it, but he's not reading defenses the way he should.
You saying that, Trey, makes me make a comparison that probably shouldn't be made, and somebody's probably never ever made this comparison ever. But Patrick Mahomes is kind of like the R. Kelly of the NFL, in the fact that R. Kelly can't read either. R. Kelly is really illiterate, but he's really the king of R&B. Like he can make a song out of anything and everything. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what Patrick Mahomes does. He's running towards the sideline and the defense is chasing him. He just flips it up and it goes right to his guy's hand. He scampers in for a touchdown. Like, just like they drew it up, huh, Patrick? You're just sitting there watching it like, man, this is why they're
I
giving
mean,
this
go
guy.
back to on his the plays that breakdown. Go back and actually look at the offense against the wide receivers against the DBs. He's supposed to be an elite quarterback. If it was Justin Herbert, he'd throw them open. Baker Mayfield would make some of those passes. He runs from them and creates a more difficult pass for himself that he ends up
Yeah,
completing or throwing across body. And it's mind-boggling to me because if he actually knew how to read defenses, like how good would he be?
yeah, he'd be amazingly good. I don't know. He'd probably be worse. He'd probably be a worse quarterback because he'd probably be trying to read the defense and then trying to make something happen, and then he'll just fall into that Brady trap of where they're just like treating him bad. But I don't know. It was a good game. Russell Wilson finally put it together. Um, but man, you're right though. You really can't trust the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes is just amazing to watch.
Richie, did you have another side point there?
No, I was just listening. I was listening to Sahe talk about Patrick Mahomes, and it's tricky to talk about this guy. He's not. You can't ever say like if he was in the pocket, like Joe Montana and Tom Brady, or like Joe Burrow, and so like that's not who he is. If he was in the pocket doing that, he wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes. Like he has all the arm talent in the world, and just like Justin Herbert has all the arm talent in the world. But like, what makes him who he is the stupid shit we're talking about, And if he didn't do this stupid shit, it's not like he would just be like throwing for 7,000 yards. He'd be doing probably a little worse than he currently does because his goofy off the beat, I'm not going to follow the play like I should be like plays are what gets him some of those breakout moments that they have. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying, you live and die with who he is, and you hope he'll start doing other things better. But it's kind of like what we talked about with Justin Fields, right? We know what we were talking about. You got to let him run. Like, we got to run. You got to let him move. And he started doing a little better. Well, this is Patrick at his prime in terms of what he's capable of doing. If you start trying to alter it and Robert Griffin III him and like put him in that like right between the tackles and that's it, I don't think he has the success he currently has. And I'm not saying he can't get there, but I agree with you guys. That boy can't read. And like he's good at what he does, and that's what he needs to stick to, and he needs to improve on it. But you never. I don't think he'll ever be right under the center. And like Josh, he's like Josh Allen. The both of them need to move and do something. And if they have to actually just read the defense, I don't know if they would be where they're at. And that's what makes them unique. And you got to keep them where they're at. I think it's too much to expect for him to stop doing these behind the back left hand, throw it like this while I'm running. I don't know. He does some weird stuff. It reminds me of NFL Street. If you guys ever played that football video game like 20 years ago, he does stuff that just shouldn't actually happen in a game, but it does and it works. And, you got to live and die with that.
I was a monster at NFL Street. Take on anybody. Brian says Patrick Mahomes has to get better. Once his ability to scramble goes away, a lot of the throws he makes go away as well. Absolutely.
Well, it's going to be a long time from now, Brian, unless he has a godforsaken injury, which nobody wants to happen. So, he's 25 years old, I think, 26.
Yeah. He's the pride of the city I live in. That is definitely.
Oh, yeah? Can he do no wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Let's
so
see.
good
We
that
got.
he covers up for his brother.
Yeah.
It's true. His brother is lucky
God,
to
his
have
brother.
him. I think his brother is lucky to
To say
have
the
him.
least. Or it's kind of a curse on some levels because I don't think he would have like inflate his chest so much if his brother wasn't so like up there.
True.
Because maybe he'd be like, all right, like I'm a McDonald's man. I don't know what his brother actually does. That could be super disrespectful. But whatever he does, I'm sure it's not much because usually the people who talk the most are the ones who do nothing. So.
Well, I mean, at least Patrick Mahomes. This is a complete side note, but he brought Whataburger to Kansas
Oh, he
City.
did.
So
you're happy?
No, I hate Whataburger. It's terrible. But
You hate Whataburger?
oh, it's awful. I'd rather have In-N-Out. Honestly, I shouldn't have
Nah,
any
the
of it.
shakes
But
Who wouldn't?
at
Who
Whataburger.
wouldn't?
The shakes at Whataburger are fire.
I don't know.
The shakes.
I
but
would,
the
I
burgers.
would rather. I'd rather go through the pain of eating White Castle sliders again than to have
so
another
good.
Whataburger. So.
But that's so bad.
It's double-edged swords across the field.
White Castle go in.
But it does go in. And every it's been 3 years since I've been to Ohio, but when I go back, I'm gonna eat like 30 of them, and then I'm gonna shit for like an hour and a half, in 16 to 20 hours, and I'm gonna hate myself. But I'm gonna try to remind myself the moments of while I was chewing how much I enjoyed it. That's White Castle.
That's what you would think you could expect from In-N-Out because it goes in. Never mind. We had the Panthers and the Seahawks. Panthers got this win 30-24 over Seattle. You guys want to pass, play, or one shot this one?
I don't know, guys. I don't feel like this is a remarkable game. I'm totally fine passing it.
We're passing this one, guys. All right.
I'm
Geno
getting a nod
Smith,
from
though.
Sahe. So yeah.
Geno Smith, yeah, we could pass it, but Geno Smith is just ball.
Yeah, we all love Geno. We want him to
Absolutely.
get that payday.
He needs
Get the
it.
Brinks truck, Detroit.
Absolutely. We got, oh man, yeah, we got a Purdy situation over 49ers and the Buccaneers. Is this Brock Purdy, right? Making all the headlines this week, and the Wampin over Tampa Bay 35-7. You guys want to pass it, play it, or one shot as Sahi's head falls in shame?
At least
Pass.
one shot it, I guess. Oh, pass. Okay.
No, I'm just we ain't got
I
to
don't
pass.
know. I don't know. We have a tiebreaker with Trey, but you know what? Since I called one shot, I'll at least one shot it right now. Sahi doesn't have to say nothing if you don't feel like it. I'm just going to talk about the 49ers. You're going into with Mr. Irrelevant as your starting quarterback, and he looked very relevant that game, which may in part be Tampa Bay's defense. But what I will say is usually when you have these young rookies or these young quarterbacks, we said the same thing about Kenny Pickett, that they're willing to take shots. And Purdy was willing to take shots. You have Christian McCaffrey, who had an excellent game as well. And we've already talked about the Niners defense, in my opinion, being the best defense in the NFL. And consistently over the last 5 years. This is a team that plays defense and runs the ball. They threw the ball a lot that night, actually. But, this was surprising from the Niners' perspective. Not the win, but the margin. I didn't expect the margin to be so much. I expected the Buccaneers to score less than 20 because I think they've only scored more than 20 like 3 times this year. So I expected that side, but I did not expect, I think it was 35 points is what you said. I did not expect that. I expected like 18-21, somewhere in there that the 49ers would score. So congrats to the Niners to rally around Mr. Irrelevant, who's looking very relevant for this season. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll say this, right? I was with Richie. I expected the Buccaneers to lose this game. A couple weeks ago, when I'm looking at the schedule, I'm like, 49ers, we're going to lose. Bengals, we're going to lose. So that's going to be some tough games for us. But at halftime, when it's 28-0, I'm just like, what the hell, man? Like, we could have kept Jameis for all this. Like, at least he's going to attempt to throw the ball downfield. It might get intercepted, but still, you're gonna at least put out an effort. Like, I'm watching this game, right? And I watched this dude stream Bucko's Locker. He does live streaming of the games and commentates on them. And I'm in the chat talking, and we get the ball back at some point in the game. Oh, we're going to get the ball back. And I type in, all right, screen, incompletion, punt. Because that's the order of 90, I'm going to say 87% of the drives the Buccaneers have this year. They're going to throw a screen this way. They're going to throw a screen that way. It's going to be third and long. Brady's going to drop back to pass, throw it in the dirt, and then we got a punt. That's how most drives go until the last 6-7 minutes of the game, where the teams are playing back coverage and they're giving Brady room to complete short passes, the same passes that he wants to complete the whole game, but they're not giving it to him early because they know he can't extend plays. They know he's not going to throw it deep, so everybody's playing short. And they talk about, oh, the Bucs don't have a running game. We don't have a running game because we don't have a long passing game. And so everybody knows we're going to go. Like, if I'm sitting on the couch, right, and I'm not in a team meeting, and I don't know how many miles away from Tampa, and I can't go to the practices, and I can call out before the drive, they're going to go screen, pass play, which is eventually going to be an incompletion. Every other team in the NFL knows exactly that. You know, I'm not super smart. I'm actually quite dumb. But if I can figure that out, everybody else has figured that out. And that gives you, our only touchdown in the game came off of a tip pass to a guy that it wasn't even going to. He just happened to be in the area. He scooped it up off the ground just right before it was incomplete and rolled into the end zone. Like, that wasn't supposed to happen, or else we weren't going to score that game. I kind of predicted that, and then that kind of fluke thing happened. It was just so sad. I know I'm going a little long on this because this is just like so bad. I had high hopes for this year, such high hopes, and we're first place in our sorry division. All right, and if we even make it to the playoffs, I don't want to see this team play in the playoffs and just get mopped first round. Like, just go home. Brady, retire today, please.
Could you imagine if they had to play the Niners again?
Yeah. Bro, I'm so sorry, my guy. You know, I know we rivals and all, but I feel for you because I felt the pain. I felt the pain in your voice, bro.
Yeah.
I feel you. At least we got Ritter coming in, and that's optimistic for us. But
yeah,
you know what, bro? You know what, bro? I low key, I support you. I support you, my guy, and I'm sorry you have to go through this. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. Hey, but real quick, I think Brock Purdy is just. I feel like Brock Purdy is just naive enough to actually make it all the way to the Super Bowl.
That's what I mean. He doesn't have that fear yet, so he's naive.
He's playing with house money. He was never supposed to see the field. He was never supposed to be. It was Trey Lance. Then Trey Lance got hurt. And then Jimmy Garoppolo. Then Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, and they put him in. And all of a sudden, it's Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's
and credit to him. He does what he does, and he is who he is, and he leans into it as best he can. And with Mike Shanahan, the quarterback whisperer, they can get it done. They don't have Deebo Samuels, but they have Christian McCaffrey who runs better routes than like 95% of the league already, and he's just a monster. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is a better receiver than Deebo Samuels anyway. George Kittle still. I mean, they have like everywhere. So
yeah. Also, Deebo's not out for the year. He's just injured, but he's not out for the year, not at all.
Yeah, I was so sad to see him go down. I was like,
he was crying.
Like, no, don't go down against us. It's not worth it. You got bigger fish to fry, Deebo. I think my prayer saved him.
I gotta call out Sahe. Sahe, your play calling about the Bucs is pretty accurate, but They don't
Spot
always
on.
go screen on first down. Sometimes they run right up the middle for -2.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah. Sometimes,
if you're gonna run
That one.
and you're Brian Leftwich, you run on first down, right? Always and only on first down. You don't run ever else. You don't put White in a position to do well. Leonard Fournette is tilted this year. Same thing. So you run it up the gut, the first down, and then you're like screen pass on second down. So now it's 3rd and 20, and Tom Brady isn't going to throw the ball deep like you're talking about. And so, Tom Brady can't
Never
throw deep anymore.
has.
He's thrown it
He never
55
has.
times a game all season, and he's 70 years old. Of
Yeah.
course, his arm's a noodle at this point. You know, that's where we're at.
Don't forget,
That's why he can't do
when Austin's in, that's when he's gonna go deep, because that's the only time Austin gets in.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'll say 2 more things on this game. First play of the game. I'm watching. I'm like, all right.
Go.
They're the 49ers are on offense. I'm like, let's see how this game is going to go. This first play is going to tell me how it's going to go. Keanu O'Neal comes in blazing, knocks the mess out of Purdy. And I'm like, yeah, we got roughing the passer, 22, 15 yards, first down. Mike Evans wide open for a touchdown. Holding on the offense, bring it back. And that would have tied the game up.
It was a TD.
It would have tied the game up. And Trey, you mentioned Ritter. You guys got hope for the future, and this is just going to sum it up. Our young quarterback's name is Kyle Trask. He's 1 letter away from being trash. All right.
Don't talk about it like that, bro. You gotta be positive. Bro, why'd you point that out?
You can't do
Every time I
that.
see him, I'm gonna call him trash.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah. Kyle Trask.
They done tried to trash out here again. Look at him. Garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's what I got to look forward
right.
to.
Come on,
That
man.
was
Brock
some-
Purdy is doing good. He could be good. Trash could be
No.
good. No?
Nah.
No?
No.
I usually take Sahe's Tampa Bay news as gospel, so I'm assuming
Yeah.
he's
this is what it is. All right. Dolphins and the Chargers. Chargers walk away with the crown on their head on this one, 23-17 over the Dolphins. You guys want to pass player 1 shot?
We could one shot it at least. I got something to say about the Dolphins.
You go, brother.
The Dolphins are pretenders. The Dolphins are pretenders. I don't know how I got tricked into believing that Tua Tagovailoa was he is not the quarterback for the Dolphins. He's just not. He's a less talented Patrick Mahomes for me. He can't get the ball to his receiver. He's got speed in him. Imagine if he had Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert throwing to Waddle and Cheetah. Like, how many yards would they have?
1 million.
It's ridiculous. Every touchdown ball that he's threw to them has been underthrown. And now he's seeing ghosts from the 49ers game still. So, like, I don't know. They're just pretenders. They have a running game, and they won't use it. They believe in Tua Tagovailoa can get them the ball downfield when he doesn't have an arm like that. It's not getting there with a lot of zip. It's lofty. And I think he's tricked us for the first half of the season.
Well, here's what I'll say. I'd like to say I was wrong because the two of you, week in and week out, said, you know what? Tua's got an arm noodle. These guys are fast. They're having to wait for the ball, come back to the ball because he can't throw it. And I was like, well, look at him go. It's still happening. And yeah, Tua sucks. I'm on board. I'm on the Tua sucks train at this point. You know, the coach is doing the best he can with that quarterback. And they were looking strong. But here's what I will say in defense of Tua and this Miami Dolphins team. This team just done. They were pretenders to Trey's point. You know, like you can't keep it was like the Lion syndrome. All the Lions starting to turn around. You can only score 40 plus points per game so many times, and then when you don't score 40, this is what you see. This is where they're at. So when they're not blowing out people, when Waddle and Cheetah aren't able to just break through the line and just run 100 miles an hour, then they're not scoring, and they're inconsistent. So, they're going to have their coach is an incredible offensive talent. He comes up with some genius plays. So I think he's going to have to revamp this team. I don't think this is you can solve it now. I think it's going to have to be solve it next year. One thing he said is many players on the team were freestyling, and he wasn't happy, right? So that's what we do know. We heard many players, not just one. So multiple players were making decisions that were not part of the game plan. It's kind of like what we talk about Patrick Mahomes. Now, allegedly, once again, the coach is saying on offense and on defense, a lot of their players are trying to make plays and deviate from the play they're supposed to make to try to do something more. So if that's happening, also, that's what you're seeing. I think you're getting them like you have guys like Cheetah and Waddle who maybe they're getting frustrated. So all right, instead of this I'm gonna do a go route. Fuck it. Pardon my language. And I think that's what's starting to happen is they're getting frustrated and they're trying to make more out of the smaller play. And so I think that's not helping. But yeah, I think this is a pretender team at this point because the Chargers have been injured all season. This is not their year, and they lost to that team. So
pretenders. Sahe, did you get to go?
No, both of these teams are pretenders, right? It's just the Chargers. They've got all the talent in the world, but can they make a run in the AFC? I'm not sure. I feel like they're a couple pieces away still. I think they still got questions on the defensive side. In Arizona, their quarterback, Kyler Murray, he's a guy, but I just think he's too small to once playoff football comes, it's going to be hard for them to get around that. But they still got a shot. They got the Buccaneers on Christmas Day. And what we're good for is making backup quarterbacks look like the second coming of Jesus. So there's still hope for Arizona. But we're not even talking about them right now. We're talking about the Dolphins and the Chargers.
We're talking about the Dolphins and the Chargers. Although the Chargers are
yeah.
probably going to win out because when you look at their teams, they're playing Denver, the Colts. Who is it? Some other terrible teams. I'll look it up real quick. I apologize, but they could win out even though they're still going to be pretenders at the end of the day. Yeah, they're playing the Rams, the Broncos, the Colts, and the Titans. So the only team they might lose to is the Titans. But like we talked about, Tennessee didn't really show up this week, so who knows?
Right.
What I would say about the Chargers is they've been injured all year. So when they have their full complement of weapons,
they have been injured.
We see that they can actually play. My thing with the Dolphins is that their receivers, they would get physical with them, and that's clearly something that you can do with them and throw them all the way off their game.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Chargers were pretenders. I think that they were just injured. And now that they're starting to get their players back, they're starting to make some noise. So you still have to look out for the Chargers.
Pretenders.
I don't know. When I think of Chargers, I think pretender. I always think they're 11-4, and then they flame out. Phillip Rivers has conditioned me to think the Chargers are a great regular season team, awful playoff team. And I'm not saying Herbert deserves that disrespect because he's an incredible talent, like Phillip Rivers was. But until I see him win a game, I just gotta wait.
Yeah.
I gotta wait. Maybe this is that year. Mike Williams is healthy. They're all healthy, to your point, and maybe I'll get that opportunity to take that, off my back. But for now, I view the Chargers like how people viewed the Bengals and should still view the Bengals, quite frankly. It's just prove it to me. I don't care what you're doing right now. Let me see what happens in the playoffs.
I mean, you saw some of those passes that Justin Herbert was throwing, like straight.
Nobody can do, bro. Like you're talking about.
Nobody
Justin
can
Herbert
make those
is the
throws.
most talented arm thrower. Period.
Whoa.
That what he did across the field, and then the bread basket that he dropped. Oh man, just.
Justin Herbert is the strongest quarterback in the league physically, like his arms. Nobody can throw the ball like that, dude. Jamarcus Russell's the only dude that had the zip like he does. This dude is in a league of his own in terms of like arm strength. It's not even close. He makes throws Joe Burrow couldn't even try to make, and he wouldn't make. Joe Burrow would do a different pass because he knows that's not going to work. For Justin Herbert, oh yeah, that worked. Oh yeah, he's special.
All right. Oh yeah, absolutely. We have one game left. The Patriots and the Cardinals. Sahe gave us the little trailer. You guys want to give it a one shot or a play?
We got at least one shot at.
Yeah.
We had the featurette, so let's at least get into this game.
Let's dive on.
I'm like, hold up, we're not even talking about this game right now. I was just thinking small quarterbacks, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
Kyler, yeah.
Dude, I'm serious. I don't care what anyone says about Kyler Murray. That boy is my height. They say he's 5'10". He looked like he's 5'7", man. That guy is a tiny dude. I feel bad for him, though. In all seriousness, I'm just starting this off, obviously. You know, I'm not saying anything bad about Kyler Murray. I just hope he can come back fully healthy because, you know, Kyler is someone like Patrick where he works best moving. And Kyler is such a gifted athlete, and I enjoy how he plays. I consider Kyler Murray and Josh Allen like how the quarterbacks are now. And I just think that's what makes him unique. Having said that, this game is not worth discussing truly because Kyler went out like pretty early. You know, we had a Colt McCoy sighting. I think that kind of sums up what this game was. Colt McCoy got to play again, and that dude is older than I am. So if I'm 37, just to clarify. So if Colt McCoy's playing, come on, man. This ain't Tom Brady, although Tom Brady ain't playing too great right now. But, you know, Colt McCoy has no business being on that football field. This isn't worth discussing. Fire Matt Patricia, Brian said. I think most people would agree with that. I don't know. And I think isn't their offensive coordinator thing like combo? It's not just Patricia, but it's also the Jets ex coach as well. Like,
yeah.
All I know is that
I think Patricia's it's an assistant and
it's like two people running the offense. If you want to call it an offense,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Doesn't Belichick have like a trailer park nephew on the coaching staff or something?
Yeah, but he's not the offense.
His son. It's his son.
That's his son. Yes, Patricia calls the plays, but the other dude also makes kinds of plays. The whole point is all the plays suck, Brian. I think we can all agree with that. All the plays suck. From the concept to the calling to everything. That's why Mac Jones said, like, throw the fucking ball, man. Like, anyways. Please continue, guys. I apologize. Matt Patricia does so.
Trey, I cut you off. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just gonna say that Matt Patricia is a combination of. I think the Kyler Murray thing. He's just too small. He should have played baseball. I really think he should have played baseball, and he's not gonna make it in this league. He got hurt in college. He's gonna get hurt in the NFL. It's not gonna change. And Matt Patricia should not be calling offenses at all.
Bruh, even if he never plays another down again, that boy just got paid. The NFL was the right choice. He got like a $200 million contract, man.
Baseball money is different. Baseball money is different. He would have made more in baseball. He would play longer.
Well, he would have played
if it's
longer.
About
I don't
money.
think he would have made more.
They're handing out almost $1 billion contracts. They handed out $400 million contracts.
Yeah, but they also in their 30s that aren't going to fulfill those contracts. Like the highest paid players in baseball are 34 to 38 right now. Those are the guys that got those $30 to $40 million contracts. These quarterbacks in the NFL are like Patrick Mahomes are like 25 making that kind of money. The MLB players in their early 20s, they're like, nah, you ain't getting that money. Get the fuck out of here. You're getting like, and I'm not saying it's not a lot of money, but you're getting a 10-year, like $300 million contract, but it's backloaded, and then they're going to reprocess you later. I agree with you for his health and for his like longevity in his career. The MLB's I'm just saying, don't feel bad for Kyler Murray. when he's 28 years old, he's going to have $250 million before taxes. He's fine. Dude made a lot of money.
Sahe?
I really just got a point. Back to what I said about the Cardinals playing the Bucks on Christmas and Colt McCoy not belonging on the field, according to Richie. You guys just watch. It's going to be a Christmas Day miracle, and Colt McCoy is going to look like the greatest quarterback.
He's going to look like he was from Texas?
Yeah, he's going to be
20 years ago, Colt McCoy?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to go for almost 170, couple touchdowns. But no, this game, like we really shouldn't be talking about it. Kyler Murray went down injured, but it just goes to the AFC East out there. The Patriots are in it, Jets are still in it, Bills leading that thing, and the Dolphins can make something happen. It's one of the most exciting divisions. I can't wait to see how that turns out. And them getting this win, because when you think about the Patriots, you just think about them, just no Tom Brady. Belichick's still there. Who's their quarterback? They got who really is on their team, but they're making it happen. Like, you would think the Patriots are dead, but they're right there in it. And Bill Belichick, one of the most experienced guys in the NFL, especially when it comes to big time games, he's going to have some stuff to figure out. And I think he's going to be able to do that with this team. So they're going to be scary. Could they be a contender and not a pretender? Who knows? You just never know. This is going to be interesting to watch. But did y'all see Nelson Aguilar stop the game to get Devontae Parker out of the game for that concussion? And he's like tweeting at the NFL,
Crazy.
telling them to do their jobs. That's like the big story after this game. Like, Nelson Aguilar,
he was going crazy too. He was jumping out there.
Yeah, because what if they run that play and Parker gets the ball and he just gets another concussion in like a matter of like 10 seconds? That would have been crazy.
The Patriots have the current sack leader and an overall great defense, says Brian.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, he's a mastermind out there, and they've got guys and they put them in great positions. So and they're unlike the Steelers, how we talk about how they need like a great draft pick to bump them up. The Patriots haven't been getting good draft picks for 20 years, and they still find guys. The guys that fit their system because they like to run it a certain way. It's just like they got that mystique of like they're always going to be in it no matter what.
It's like money.
Yeah,
ball.
I mean, to me, Mike Tomlin's like a Bill Belichick light in the sense that they're always going to be in the game, even when they shouldn't be. But I will say this: one, you're technically correct, Brian, but he's tied for the lead with Nick Bosa. I don't believe Judon will keep up with Nick Bosa. The other thing I will say is we'll see how real the Patriots really are, because they're going to be playing the Bills. Mm-hmm. They play the Bengals on Christmas Eve, and they play one other team. They play three good teams, and then they play the Raiders. But I'm just saying, like, they have their next four games, three of them are going to be very competitive. So we'll see where they're at. I'm not saying they're garbage. I'm just saying, and it's a Bill Belichick team, but they started off strong this year. I think they went like 5-2 at the beginning of the year. So they've kind of floundered, to be honest. So I'm not saying that they won't make it. I'm not saying they're not good. They have a very good defense, but their offense is honestly anemic, which is why we keep seeing, fire Matt Patricia. But, to me, this is an offensive league too. I know I kind of underrate defense a lot, but I'm just saying, if you don't, I'm not saying Matt can't do it, but if you're not able to sling 40 points on a guy in the NFL at this point, it's hard for you to say you're a real contender. So until I can see New England score like that, I can't be like, yeah, New England's got, because right now we're dealing with the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, as the top three, whatever order you want to call it. So I'm not saying New England can't be considered there, but it's hard to say they're better than those teams, because offensively, I don't see them at that level. And defensively, it's not like the Patriots defense is significantly higher than those three defenses either. Well, it's certainly better than the Chiefs. But anyways, we'll see how New England's going to do. nobody count out Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, but they have a tough schedule. I think they'll make the playoffs, but they have a tough schedule, and we'll see how good they really are, because in 4 weeks' time, we're going to know like how much they can or can't compete, because they got to play some hard teams. I was shocked when I saw their last 4. Let me just look it up. Bills, Dolphins, Bengals, Raiders. So, maybe the Dolphins they pull out, but man, that's going to be a tough last 4 games. That's brutal.
How dare the NFL schedule anything on Christmas Eve when we have the playoffs going on? I mean, come on.
Hey, man, it's better than making them play on Christmas.
That's true.
Yeah, there's quite a few Christmas Day games.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 of them.
There's 3.
Well, I want to thank Brian for being so active in the chat. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in.
Thank you, Brian.
Guys, we're gonna close this out with a little one shot, because I took some flack from some local KC listeners about my hero of the week being Max Duggan. I'm a Kansas State fan now, but you gotta recognize when somebody is carrying his team on his own in the end of the season. I mean, the guy, and you know what? All I'm gonna say is he was standing up there with Caleb Williams and the 50-year-old Georgia quarterback and C.J. Stroud in the Heisman race. So I stand by what I said. Max Duggan is a hell of a quarterback. I also learned through watching the Heisman ceremony that he's a hell of a guy, and he's a fighter, and I expect to see big things from a quarterback like that with that much grit going into the future. So one shot on the Heisman, guys. Caleb Williams pulls it out. And then he has a comment to the rest of the candidates saying, hey, I may have won the Heisman, but you guys are all in the playoffs. What do we make of Caleb Williams winning the Heisman this year?
Caleb Williams is a phenomenal talent, and he's a phenomenal college talent. I'll say that. I'm not going to say it's going to translate to the NFL, just because we've seen this time Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, yada, yada, yada. These guys look amazing in college and get to the NFL, then they don't have the temperament to make it in the NFL, the discipline and the hunger to really be the best. A lot of these guys, they are just doing it off athletic ability and just natural talent, and being put in a position to shine the way they are. So it's a different beast going into the NFL. But Caleb Williams, he's tall, he's big, he's physical, he's got all the tools. It's just amazing that he won the Heisman and his team isn't in the playoffs. But again, the playoffs this year, they're not going to give it to the Georgia quarterback as far as the Heisman. But
he's probably too old for eligibility, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Y'all are taking my pick. Don't shit talk on Stetson Bennett. I got to interrupt now. How dare all of you? Okay. Hold on a second. Can I share this screen? Let me see if this works. Hold on. Oh, it won't let me. Dang it. Okay, I can't share it because stupid Apple and its like ridiculous rules. This is lame. I'm going to make it work though. I'm going to make it work for you guys because I care. Here we go. Hopefully you can see this. You see Stetson in his glory?
That's loading.
Is that
beautiful? Look at that.
You see that man? Right he looks like my accountant, okay?
Yeah.
He's a winner.
That man's a minimum of 45 years old.
He's a winner.
I'm sure he can hold a clipboard real well.
He's a winner. This guy has been playing like quarterback in college longer than Friends has been rerunning. Like this guy is in his 6th year of eligibility, guys. I can't when I saw Stetson, because honestly, I'm not a huge college football guy. I saw him last year, obviously. And that's when I kind of noticed who he was. And I looked at him and I was like, this motherfucker looks 50. So then I Googled it. At the time, he was 24 years of age. So I apologize for that. Sometimes white people look really old really quick. Stetson, but I will say Stetson plays very well, for college football. I was a little surprised, usually the playoff guys are the ones who end up getting it. But, I'm not trying to hate. It's just I really thought Stetson had it in the bag. So it is what it is. Stetson, go win that championship. That's all I got to say. You might be the accountant in my heart, but you are the Georgia Bulldogs quarterback. You are on the best team in the NCAA, and don't let these haters stop you, man. I still believe in Stetson. I was disappointed he didn't get it. What more can you ask of this guy? He's waited 6 years for this moment.
Man.
You gonna get off Stetson. Y'all gonna get off my quarterback. Hey, he's a winner. They're gonna win
He's a
a
winner.
championship.
right,
I'm glad that Caleb got it. He was really good this year. They didn't win, but it wasn't. I don't think it was no fault of his own. He did everything that he could. I mean, the guy had one leg trying to finish the game. And they were actually in the game. So, but get off my guy Stetson.
I'm not shit talkative. I mean it. That's what was my point.
The fourth.
He paid his
Don't forget
dues.
the fourth.
6 years in NCAA.
There's-
Give this man the Heisman. He should get it just on longevity.
Right.
I mean, he's got all the answers to the test anyway.
Yeah.
He's 2 or 3 years older than certain NFL quarterbacks. I mean, come on.
My point is he's been, what is that called? I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Not seniority. There's a name for it. But he's the most experienced. He's clearly been in the football system the longest. Not necessarily Georgia, but 6 years of eligibility. And this guy, what more can you ask? His team is doing phenomenal. He's played phenomenal this and last year. Yeah, I'm disappointed for him, but I'm pretty sure the championship will be a whole lot sweeter for him than the Heisman. So,
Well, to win the championship, you gotta get past the scarlet and gray underdogs who are gonna come out. That's my pick.
oh Lord,
Just get
Are
ready.
you
My
serious?
Christmas
Hold on,
present to
turn it
myself.
off. Turn this off. Are you
Because
kidding me? We'll talk
I've got
next week.
I've got my hoodie, and I was embarrassed that I had it made, and it can't go away for a whole another year. It needs to be ready for the national championship. So I'm sorry, Georgia Bulldogs, you're gonna have 2 upsets this year.
You're killing me.
Your 55-year-old quarterback, and you're gonna lose to the Buckeyes. We'll see what happens.
What is? How dare you? Somebody should mute his mic, please. I need to talk to your girlfriend, fiance, future wife. This is absurd. All right, you can slander about Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't you ever slander that Ohio State's going to win something. Get the fuck out of here, man. Ohio State hasn't won something since we started this show. They won in between previously and when we started this show. But I'm telling you, it's going to be 8 to 10 years before they win again, man. They need a new coach. They need a whole new. They need prime. That's what they need. They need 3 extra players that they're not already getting.
Prime.
No, they're still Ohio
3 players
State.
away.
But they would be crazy with prime. They would be the Ohio State with prime.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I refuse to call them the Ohio State. They're the nothing. They haven't won nothing in years. Get out of here. They're Ohio State. They're not going to win.
Beat Michigan.
Can't even beat Michigan.
Oh,
They're
can't
so
even beat
lucky.
the number 3
They're
team in
so
the country.
lucky they're playing Georgia to put them out of their misery so they don't get to the championship and get their hearts broken. Honestly, this is the best scenario for them. Because if played TCU and magically won, all these fans would be like, oh my God, it's going to happen. When the Bengals got to the Super Bowl, I was just appreciative they got there. Ohio State fans are so crazy. They think they'd actually win. That's the difference between me and them, man. These fools are going to get destroyed by Georgia.
Yeah.
They ain't going to be close. It's going to be 62 to 28.
All right.
With that bad.
That's stout of a prediction. I want to make a bet. I'll wear a Georgia Bulldogs hat if I see Blockos on every screen if Ohio State pulls it out.
I will never.
Come on. All right.
Come on.
Step it up.
Nope.
Sahe's got one in the closet, surely.
I got a shirt or 2.
All right.
We'll figure something out off
figure
the air,
something.
and we'll get back
off the
there.
air.
Okay?
All right. Well,
Let's figure it out off the air.
Michigan upsetting Georgia for the national championship, Brian says. Interesting. I hate Michigan, so this has been the Wire Sports Podcast. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't think that would ever happen, but that would actually make me laugh even more. That would be my dream to be. Even though I love Georgia, I'm not trying. it would just be amazing to watch Michigan win. Oh my God, I would love to watch Ohio State fans try to like fruitlessly defend that. Oh, we would have beat them. We could have beat them. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. Please let it happen.
If we somehow pull it out over Georgia,
don't worry about we don't need to do anything. Y'all can just relax because it's going to be a blowout. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I do want to see Michigan and Ohio State play for the national championship.
Absolutely.
I do too, but I'd also like to
just like we were supposed to during the BCS era.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good.
All right. Well, this is our longest Wire Sports podcast by far, but it's been an absolute blast doing this live with you guys. I think we might stick to live. Stay tuned. The guys and I will talk about it off air and see when this might be. Maybe we'll make a move to Monday. Hey, maybe we'll make our permanent home Wednesdays. We'll see what goes on. Check out all the shows here at H2G Radio. Right down in the description, you've got the link tree. You got Free Mess on Fridays coming up just in a couple of days. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. You're going to be the one who missed it. Brand new season of True Crime for the Innocent Mind is coming out. And in this season, we've got Ted Bundy. We've got all kinds of craziness coming out for you on that show. The Actors Breakdown got a season 2 coming out. The full season 1 of the Boss Dog Show available as well. So just go check out the link tree, support all of it. Go check out H2G Podcast. There's 8 seasons of content there. Just a lot of great stuff. If you want to get involved, let us know. You can contact us right through that same link tree. So if you haven't figured it out, the link tree is where it's at. Live, laugh, love like it's your last. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned to the Facebook page. We're gonna keep you posted on what's going on. But I think we're gonna stay live. Now that I know how the audio.
Thanks for making it happen, Trey. Looks like you're busy, brother. Have a good one, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Company holiday
party. Tonight.
Hey, let's go.